Nobody warned them it would happen this fast. The day they brought baby Lily home from the hospital, they expected chaos. They expected their 90-pound German Shepherd Knox to bark too loud, jump too high, knock something over. That's what everyone told them would happen. Friends, family, even their vet pulled them aside with the same look, half concern, half pity, and said some version of the same thing. You know, German Shepherds can be unpredictable around newborns, right? They'd heard it so many times, it started to feel like fact. But the moment Sarah carried Lily through the front door, swaddled in her pink blanket, pink bow on her head, Knox did something nobody predicted. He didn't bark, he didn't jump, he walked up slowly, lowered his massive head, and took one long, careful sniff. Then he sat down, right next to her, and didn't move. That was 6 weeks ago, and in 6 weeks, Knox has not voluntarily left Lily's side for more than 10 minutes. Not once. Sarah and her husband Jake had adopted Knox 2 years earlier from a German Shepherd rescue in Ohio. He was 18 months old, already full-grown, already 90 pounds of lean muscle and high alert. The rescue coordinator had been up front. Knox had been surrendered twice. First family said he was too intense. Second family said they made them nervous. He'd been at the shelter for 4 months by the time Sarah and Jake walked in. 4 months of watching families come through, slow down at his kennel, read the notes on his door, and then keep walking. Sarah read those notes 3 times in the parking lot before she walked inside. She almost didn't go in. But then she saw him through the chain link, not pacing, not barking, just sitting perfectly still, watching her with those amber eyes like he'd been waiting. Jake reached his hand through the fence, Knox sniffed it once, then leaned his whole head into Jake's palm. "We'll take him," Jake said. That was 2 years ago, and from that first night, Knox proved every concern wrong. He was calm, he was gentle, he was loyal in a way that felt almost human, following Sarah from room to room, sleeping outside their bedroom door, raising his head every time one of them had a bad dream. When Sarah got pregnant, people started the warnings again. "Are you sure it's safe? He's such a big dog. What if he gets jealous?" She started to wonder if they were right. But something else was happening that nobody talked about. Around the 5th month of Sarah's pregnancy, Knox started doing something new. He stopped sleeping outside the bedroom door. Instead, he'd press himself against the side of the bed, right at Sarah's level, and rest his chin near her stomach. Not on it, just near it, like he already knew something was in there worth paying attention to. Jake would wake up at 2 a.m. and find him in that exact position, completely still, just breathing quietly in the dark. Nobody taught him to do that. He just did. But you're still watching, and I see you haven't subscribed yet. Honestly, that stings just a little. Hit that subscribe button because what Knox did at 2 in the morning is something you need to see through to the end. The first week with Lily home was exhausting in all the ways new parents know but can never fully prepare for. 2-hour feeding cycles, laundry that multiplied overnight, the kind of tired that lives behind your eyes. Knox adapted immediately. He claimed a spot on the floor beside the Lily bassinet like it had always been his. When Jake would get up for the 3 a.m. feeding, Knox would already be awake, watching the door. When Sarah would finally get Lily to sleep after 45 minutes of rocking, she'd lay her down and find Knox already there, settled, still, like a warm wall between the baby and the rest of the world. One afternoon, Sarah caught herself just standing in the doorway watching the two of them. Lily asleep in the bassinet, Knox flat on the floor directly below her, his chest rising and falling in that slow, steady rhythm. She stood there for a full minute before she realized she wasn't worried anymore about any of it. "He thinks she's his puppy," Jake said, half laughing, half whispering so he wouldn't wake her. Sarah didn't argue. It was the most accurate thing either of them had said all week. Stories like this are exactly why we do what we do. There is so much more still coming. Then came the night of the pink bow. Lily had been fussier than usual that evening, gassy, overtired, doing that thing newborns do where they cry just hard enough to make your chest ache. Sarah had finally gotten her settled around 10 p.m., swaddled tight, the soft white noise machine humming. She'd put a tiny pink bow on Lily's head earlier that afternoon for photos, and somehow it had stayed on. Knox lay down beside the bassinet as he always did. At 2:17 a.m., Sarah woke to Knox standing at her bedside, not barking, just standing there, staring at her, then turning towards the hallway, then back to her. His tail wasn't wagging, his ears were forward, locked. She had never seen that specific expression on his face before. Not alarm exactly, but something close to urgency, the kind of look that cuts through sleep instantly. She followed him down the hallway without turning a single light on. Lily's oxygen monitor, a small clip they used on her foot during the first weeks home, had slipped off while she slept. The alarm had been too quiet to wake them, but it had been enough for Knox. He'd heard it, recognized something was wrong, and come to get her. Lily was fine, completely fine, sleeping peacefully, pink bow still somehow in place. But Sarah stood in that hallway at 2:17 in the morning, Knox pressing his warm side against her leg, and something shifted permanently in her chest. She didn't go back to sleep for a long time. She just stood there in the quiet, one hand on Knox's back, watching Lily breathe. The next morning, Jake came downstairs to find Sarah on the floor of the living room, Lily on her tummy on the nursing pillow, Knox lying flat beside her, with, and nobody planned this, his own pink bow balanced on his head. Lily had grabbed it from somewhere, and somehow it ended up there. Knox had not moved a single inch. He just looked up at Jake with those amber eyes, completely unbothered. Jake took a photo. Then he sat down on the floor next to both of them and didn't say a word for a long time. He thought about the rescue notes, the 2 families, the 4 months of watching people walk past that kennel, and he thought about how close they'd both come to doing the exact same thing. There will be people who read stories like this and still say German Shepherds are dangerous, that any big dog near a newborn is a liability, that Knox got lucky, or that Sarah and Jake were irresponsible, or that it could have gone differently. Maybe they're not right to be cautious, but caution and fear are different things. Knox was surrendered twice because he made people nervous, because he was intense, because he was 90 pounds and looked the part. But Lily has never been safer in her short life than when Knox is next to her, and Knox, the dog 2 families gave up on, has never been more at home. Some bonds don't need explanation, they just need the chance to exist. And if you're considering a dog, especially a big breed, especially a difficult one, please don't let other people's fear be your reason to walk away. Talk to a trainer, do the work. Learn the breed, because the intensity that made 2 families walk away from Knox is the exact same thing that sent him down a dark hallway at 2:17 in the morning to wake up a sleeping mother. The thing they called a flaw was never a flaw. It was just love waiting for the right reason. So here's what I want to know, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments. Was what Knox did that night pure instinct, or is that something deeper, something that looks a whole lot like love?